Hari Hari. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakchurulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Upam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Sa Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desacharine Vanchakalpadruvasya Kripa Sindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtase Namah हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we had done till text 20 yesterday. Now we'll go from 21 to 27. So before we begin, we'll just see the summary. So 10 sons of Brahma, they are explained from 21 to 24. So these are the personalities. Narada Muni came from the best part of his body. Seems it's from the heart. Vasishtha came from breathing of Lord Brahma. Daksha came from thumb of Lord Brahma. Bhrigu came from touch of Lord Brahma. Kritu came from hands of Lord Brahma. Pulastha came from ears. Angira came from mouth. Atri came from eyes. Marichi from the mind. And Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. So that is how from different parts of Brahma, different personalities came. So this shows that the way man and woman unite in this world and then produce a child, that's not necessary in the higher planetary systems. Brahma is producing just like that. At least for Brahma, it is not necessary. Then religion came from the right breast, where Paramatma is situated. And irreligion came from the backside. Backside of Brahma, from where Jiva's death takes place. That's adharma. 26 explains about how adharmas came out. Lust and desire came from heart. Anger between the eyebrows, from where Rudra came out. Lips, from the lips came the greed. From mouth came the power of speaking called Vak. From penis came the ocean. From anus is the source of all sins. Low and abominable activities came out. And Kardamuni was his shadow. From his shadow or splendor, Kardamuni was born. So that is how Brahma, without the agency of any wife, produced so many children. Now we can just go to the translations. Please 21, 22 and 22 purport.
Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the existence of the generation, extension of the generations. Text 22. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narada were thus born. Vaishnav Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The whole process of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned soul a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor. But from the very beginning, Rudra began to devour the whole creation, and thus he had to be stopped from such devastating activities. Brahma therefore created another set of good children who were mostly in favor of worldly fruitive activities. He knew very well, however, that without devotional service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for the conditioned souls, and therefore he at last created his worthy son Narada, who is the supreme spiritual master of all transcendentalists. Without devotional service to the Lord, one cannot make progress in any department and cannot make any progress in any department of activity, although the path of devotional service is always independent of anything material. Only the transcendental loving service of the Lord can deliver the real goal of life, and thus the service rendered by Sriman Narad Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma.
Yeah. So Brahmaji initially he created the 4 Kumaras. Of course, initially he created the Agyan Vrittis. He was not very satisfied. So then he created from Gyan Chatus Kumaras. After creating Chatus Kumaras, they refused to become householders. So he became very angry, and then Rudra came. So he thought, okay, at least new child has come. So then these Rudras, he got them married immediately. And then these Rudras started destroying the world instead of creating. So he was like, my God, what type of children are coming out? One is saying that I will not get married, another is saying, no, another devastating the whole world. So then he thought, okay, now let me get some children who are obedient at the same time, they'll also become a grahastha. So that's why he created those children who were quite involved in fruitive activities. And then he was not satisfied because he knew that ultimately devotion service is the goal of life. So then he created Narad Muni. So that is how Narad Muni's work, but he's the incarnation of Bhakti Shakti of the Lord. So he's considered the best among all the sons of Brahma. Okay. Please read 23, 24, and 25.
Narad was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Vashishta was born from his breathing, Daksha from her thumb, Brigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Pulastya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, and irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity.
So that's why already we had discussed. So all the different personalities came from different part. And Narad Muni came from deliberation of Brahma. So of course, deliberation is through the intelligence, and it is intelligence is situated in the region of heart. Okay, Premanand Gopinath.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have 2 questions on this regard. The other day, I was asking the question. Canto 3, chapter number 10, text number 27. Previously, I asked you this question, and you explained also to me. Oh, good Vidura, the last 3 creations and the creation of demigod, the 10th creation, are Vaikruta creations, which are different from the previously created Prakruta, natural creations. The appearance of the Kumaras is both. So here itself is 2 questions in that. Now we are studying, Brahma is creating all the generations. Whereas previously we studied that the Supreme Lord created everything, and Brahma did the sub-creations. That means in the text number 27, 3:10:27, before to that we studied the human being has been created by the Lord and all. And now we are seeing Brahmaji is creating the sages, and sages will be getting married and they'll be creating the human beings.
Okay. So creation by the Lord is more of a concept. It's more of a concept. So, but when the concept is directly presented, it's like, that's why I was telling, initial the creation, even the creation of Virat Roop is more of a blueprint. And this is like literally manifestation of that blueprint. Like now we see many times, Prabhupada created whole of ISKCON. So certainly Prabhupada personally also went in many places, but then in many of the places Prabhupada literally did it through the medium of his disciples. So, but we say give the credit to Prabhupada because Prabhupada is the one who created the whole blueprint and the disciple executed and things became manifested. So that is how it is there.
And the second question here is that the appearance of the Kumaras is both. That means Kumaras has been created by Brahma and Kumaras have been created by Krishna.
Okay, so these Kumaras, now they are created by Brahma, but the analogy which is given is that of the demigods. Like we had demigods with Mahavishnu, and we will be having demigods created by Brahma also. So from that we understand that Kumaras were created before also, and they got manifested through the medium of Brahma. Like we have the example of Rudra also. Lord Shiva was there before Brahma also, because Mahavishnu's vision is called Sambhu. But then he appeared again from between the eyebrows of Brahma. So in this way, even Lord Shiva's creation can be called as both Prakrit and Vaikrat. So same thing we can speak about Kumaras also. So all the details are not given, but a similarity is given. That means they were created before also, and they got manifest through Brahma. Okay,
Yeah, got it. And the third question is that Lord Brahma is having 50 qualities and Rudra is having 55 qualities. Then how is the contrast? Now Rudra is coming out of the anger of Brahmaji. The qualities should be lesser, but
no. It's just a medium, bro. It's like a medium. Like for example, Krishna comes from Vasudev. Now, who has more qualities, Vasudev or Krishna?
Not audible. It was cut between.
Okay. Am I audible to all the devotees, or there's some problem with the?
Yes, audible.
Yes, yeah, audible.
Okay. So Premanand Gopinath, your internet is a little disturbed. So I will repeat again. Like Lord Krishna appears from Vasudev. Now, is Vasudev having more qualities than Krishna?
Okay, that way.
Now we got it, na? So Brahma is just a medium for the appearance of Rudra. That doesn't mean that literally he's creating. He's just a medium. In this world also, father is a medium for the child to appear. He's not the actual father. Actual father is Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So all the fathers of this world and mothers of this world are just a medium for the child to get a new body. That's all. Okay, I hope it answers it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Duti Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I didn't understand the part where it says the horrible death of the living entities take place at the back of Brahma.
Okay, it is generally actually considered the anus portion, because generally when people die, in general, that is what I've heard from even the doctors, generally they pass stool and urine. So for most of the people, very few people are there who leave their bodies from the mouth or from the eyes. Like Prabhupada opened his mouth. Of course, he was chanting Hare Krishna also. But for most of the people, even I have observed among my relatives, most of the relatives, They generally leave from a student passing or student urine.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, sir. Diksha Mataji.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, like, Shiva is beyond, Shiva is not Jeev Tattva. So, like you mentioned, Prabhuji, that his original father is Krishna and Brahma is only the medium. Prabhuji, still it is difficult to understand that how come like he's coming from Brahma then here. He's also glance of Krishna, but this Mahavishnu at the same time is coming from Brahma.
That is his manifestation. See, even what to say of Lord Shiva, even living entities who are liberated, they can expand themselves by the mercy of the Lord. Right? Like we have Prahlad Maharaj in Sutarloka. Prahlad Maharaj is there with Narsingh Dev. Prahlad Maharaj also appears as Vasudev Datta. Prahlad Maharaj also appears as in the body of Haridas Thakur. So even Prahlad Maharaj can expand to so many. So there are no restrictions of time and space for the people who are liberated. Time and space restricts only people who are conditioned, not the liberated ones. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, here Angira Muni is actually the father of we were studying in Canto 1, Shamik Rishi and Shringi Muni. So he is the one same Angira Muni, Angira Rishi, from who has a lineage. Like
Yeah.
Shamik,
Yes. He's the same. So they come in the same lineage. So generally, followers of Angina Rishi, as per Bhagavatam, they are very expert in doing yajnas. And especially the karma kandi ones, by which one can get elevated to the heavenly planets. So all these people actually came for doing yajna only. But when their faces became black from the smoke, then they understood, okay, we have to hear Bhagavatam. These yajnas are not going to help the people of Kali Yuga. Okay?
Yes,
so now we'll read 26. So please read 26 and 27.
Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, the power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean from his penis, and low and abominable activities from his anus, the source of all sins. Text 27. Sage Kardama, husband of great Dev Huti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma, as all became manifested from either the body or mind of Brahma.
Yeah. So it is pretty inconceivable how all these things can manifest into these personalities. So for that's why sometimes we hear that Gadadhar Das was expansion of effulgence of Radharani. Effulgence of Radharani is a person. But even the shadow of Brahma is also a person. Now he turns into Kadamuni. Of course, what we understand here is that these things are the medium. These are the medium for manifestation. So similarly, even the qualities in total for the universe, they appear from different parts of Brahma. So things like greed, sin, abominable activities, and desire, lust. So all these come from different parts of Brahma. Okay, now the Vak episode, which has a lot of lessons to be learned from. So this is from 28 to 33. So please read 28 translation and the purport.
We have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Purport. Balavan Indriya Grama Vidvansam Api Garsati, Bhagavatam 9.19.17. It is said that the senses are so mad and strong that they can bewilder even the most sensible and learned man. Therefore, it is advised that one should not indulge in living alone, even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. Vidvansam Api Garsati means that even the most learned also become victims.
Krishna Mataji, your voice is not clear and audible.
Voice is not clear, not audible well. Come a bit closer.
It seems there is some network issue. Maybe some Reddy can read.
Okay, maybe then Dhananjay Prabhu can read the purport.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, Hare Krishna. So, a purport for verse 20. Balvan Indriya Gramo Vidya Vansam Api Karsati. That is Bhagavatam 9.19.17. It is said that the senses are so mad and strong that they can bewilder even the most sensible and learned man. Therefore, it is advised that one should not indulge in living alone, even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. Vidvamsam api karsati means that even the most learned also become victim of the sensuous urge. Maitreya hesitated to state that this anomaly on the part of Brahma, who was sexually inclined to his own daughter, but still he mentioned it because sometimes it so happened, and the living example is Brahma himself, although he is the primeval living being and the most learned within the whole universe. If Brahma could be a victim of the sexual urge, then what of others who are prone to so many mundane frailties? This extraordinary immorality on the part of Brahma was heard to have occurred in some particular kalpa, but it could not have happened in the kalpa in which Brahma heard directly from the Lord the four essential words of Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Lord blessed Brahma after giving him lesson on the Bhagavatam that he would never be bewildered in any kalpa whatsoever. This indicates that before the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, he might have fallen a victim to such sensuality, but after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam directly from the Lord, there was no possibility of such failures. One should, however,
please continue.
One should, however, take serious note of this incident. The human being is a social animal, and his unrestricted mixing with the fair sex leads to downfall. Such social freedom of man and women, especially among the younger section, is certainly a great stumbling block on the path of spiritual progress. Material bondage is due only to sexual bondage, and therefore unrestricted association of man and women is surely a great impediment. Maitreya cited this example on the part of Brahma just to bring to our notice this great danger.
So there are few lessons to be learned from this certainly purport as well as the episode. So one of them is to be very careful with the dealing with the opposite sex, because even the person who is highest in goodness, like Brahma, even he can become victim. That means no anybody can become victim. So Prabhupada also, I was just hearing Prabhupada's lecture day before yesterday. So Prabhupada was saying anybody becomes agitated in front of opposite sex or wealth. That is not very surprising. That's not like very surprising, because Lord's Maya is very powerful. So many times people are surprised by saying, oh, no, such a person became victim to wealth or women or something else. So that is not like very surprising, because we are surrounded by Maya from all the sides. There's a tiny jiva in the region of the heart, and the entire universe is filled with three modes of material nature. So that is not like very, very surprising. So anybody can become, but if you see the words which are used here,
after hearing Bhagavatam, he was not bewildered.
Yeah. So, okay. So I was going to tell this point also. There is one more point here. The word used is we have heard. So this has two significance. One significance, as Prabhupada points out, that after Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it didn't happen. That means if we regularly hear Bhagavatam, we are in touch with Bhagavatam, then becoming victim of Maya, the chances are very less. Although that doesn't mean that no, we just hear Bhagavatam and then just go in front of Maya. We have to be careful. But it elevates us spiritually. So that's why hearing Bhagavatam is very important. And also, this particular words that we have heard shows that he didn't wanted to do the same mistake which the sons of Marichi did. Somebody can tell what happened with the sons of Marichi? I think it will come also.
They became they become the sons of Mother Devaki.
Yeah.
And they were killed by Ravan himself. And he was his father in the previous.
Kalnemi.
Kalnemi, yes.
Yeah. So then they became the sons of Kalnemi. Sorry, sons of Hiranyaksh or Kalnemi? Kalnemi only, sons of Kalnemi. And then later on, they were cursed by Hiranyakasipu. Then they became the sons of Devaki. And they were killed by their own father, Kalnemi. And only when they sucked the breast of Mother Devaki, they became relieved of their offenses towards Brahma. And that is how they again went to their original position. So the point is that it is not very surprising if somebody falls prey to lust or greed. But when we undergo or we face the circumstances, then we have to see the background of that person also. If you overlook the background of that person and just blame the person that he became a victim, then what happens is then it becomes an offense. So actions have to be taken in such a way, especially by the people who are authoritative, and even the people who are not authoritative, but they get the news, that it should bring security in the society. At the same time, it should encourage that person to continue his practice of Krishna consciousness, whoever he is. And also we have to see the contributions of the person, whatever contribution he has done. Because if we overlook and just blaspheme some very exalted soul who have been practicing for 30, 40, 50 years, then it is considered an offense. Because Krishna himself may not take it very seriously. We are taking it like so seriously that we are just speaking here and there. So if we have a concern, what should we do if we have a concern? We are not in the authoritative position and we get a news and we have a concern. What should we do?
Tell it to the authority.
Yeah, speak to the right authority. But the problem with most of the people is that they don't speak to the right authority, they speak to everyone else. So speaking to the right person is never considered an offense. But speaking to other people who are not authoritative, we have no intention to bring some positive contribution or positive change in the society or safeguard the society, then that is just a blasphemy. So whatever happens, what we should do is we should speak to the right person, that authority. Please read 29th translation purpose.
Thus, finding their father so deluded in the act of immorality, the stage headed by Marichi, all sons of Brahma spoke as follows with great respect. Purport. The sages like Marichi were not in the wrong in submitting their protest against the acts of their great father. They knew very well that even though their father committed a mistake, there must have been some great purpose behind the so. Otherwise, such a great personality could not have committed such a mistake. It might be that Brahma wanted to warn his subordinates about human frailties in their dealing with women. This is always very dangerous for persons who are on the path of self-realization. Therefore, great personalities like Brahma, even when in the wrong, should not be neglected, nor could the great sages headed by Marichi show any disrespect because of his extraordinary behavior.
Yeah. So in this way, Marichi and all the people, they did the right thing. So with great respect, they were pointing out the mistake. So that is the way of correcting the senior personality who is more senior with us than us. What to say of such a personality? Sometimes it may be spiritual master. So even if a spiritual master is doing something wrong, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that even he can be corrected, but respectfully. And what to say, a very exalted personality like Brahma and Lord Shiva, they are guna avatars of the Lord. So they are not like ordinary. And what is happening between the Lord and the devotee is sometimes very inconceivable also. Like when Lord appeared as Mohini Murti, Lord Shiva's attraction for Mohini Murti is actually spiritual. What is attraction for Lord Vishnu? It is not attraction for Mahamaya. And that is why Lord Shiva didn't care for Parvati, Nandi or anyone who were doing his arti, and then he was just running behind Mohini Murti. And Mohini Murti also very cleverly was going through the sages who were meditating on Lord Shiva. And they were saying, you are meditating on Lord Shiva and just see what Lord Shiva is doing. Now, such a display is there in front of the followers, we'll feel really disgusted. We'll say, my dear Lord, bijdi karna hai to theek se kariye, you know. If you want to disgrace us, no, then do it properly. In front of our followers only you are doing all these things. So, but Lord did. And main thing is we find the behavior of Lord Shiva also, that he was not displeased. He was not angry. He was very satisfied because he could prove that Lord is so attractive that even a sense-controlled person like me, who burned Kamdev into ashes, such a personality also become attracted to the Lord. So he was very happy. He was very satisfied. And many times very great personalities made sometimes, no, certainly we don't say this is in general, but even in the past, there are many sadhus who would do something very bewildering just to get a bad name in front of the people so that they can do their bhajan properly. So now certainly this is not like from our sampradaya, so I don't speak, but I can just tell, I will not tell the name of the sadhu. But there was a great personality who was like, who appeared in same time of Jeev Goswami. So he became so popular that all the people were harassing him. And no, they wanted to meet him. So he became so harassed that he thought that if I get a bad name, nobody will harass me and I can do my bhajan properly. So openly in the palki, it was an open palki, not a closed one. He was sitting along with a prostitute and he went around the whole city. And people were thinking, my God, no, such a degraded fellow, he's moving along with a prostitute. And then nobody approached him and he was very happily doing his bhajan. So sometimes what great personalities do, it's like difficult to understand. Now we don't take it as like a ticket for that anybody does anything and we just close our eyes. So best thing for us is to report to the right authority. Report to the right authority and just get detached. It is between Krishna and the authorities. Okay. So now somebody can read 30, 31, 32, all three. Diksha Mataji.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask that when we are preaching to devotees, we come to know that they are in like the fourth principle is not followed by when we come into or when we see the new people when they join Krishna consciousness. So gradually telling also they don't listen. So Prabhuji, in that cases, like what should be a preacher's behavior? It should be only to push them in Krishna consciousness. Wait, what should be an attitude of a preacher?
So what we should do is, we should encourage people to further strengthen their Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we should make them aware about the 480 principles. So we have to see, it's like there's no hard and fast, like there are no some words which will suddenly change everything. We have to be careful that we have to emphasize 4 regulative principles enough, but not so much that they become discouraged in their practice of Krishna consciousness. So they should continue practicing Krishna consciousness more strongly. At the same time, they should continue their struggle. So whatever is needed to encourage a person to continue his struggle in Krishna consciousness, we should do that. And we can see that a lot from the life of Prabhupada. Now all these people who are like now great devotees in ISKCON, so many of them were hippies before. And many of them relate. For many devotees, it took decades to follow 480 principles. Even many of them were in Brahman initiated devotees. So they took time, and Prabhupada was accommodative. So certain things are not like displayed in the public. But one of the very great Matajis, so after taking Brahman initiation also, so she was once smoking in the kitchen. And Prabhupada said that at least don't smoke in Radharani's kitchen. Go and smoke outside and come back. So the way Prabhupada was accommodative is like mind-blowing. So Prabhupada was, if you see in his Vyasasan, in his purports, he's like a singer. But when it came to personal dealings, Prabhupada was very careful to see that people are encouraged to continue their struggle in practice of Krishna consciousness. So that is, we have to use our intelligence to see. There are different people in different societies have different psychology also. Like personally, I have seen that Bengalis are very soft people. If you shout at them, they will leave Krishna consciousness and they'll run away. And Marathis are like Kshatriyas. You have to really speak a little strongly to get something inside. So they like it. If somebody speaks very strongly, they feel, he's very personal to me. So different people have different psychologies. So depending on the psychology, whatever encourages them in their Krishna consciousness, we should do that. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. Dhananjay Prabhu has some experience of that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, I agree with you. I have experience at the institute level also, because we had ID Kanpur, a lot of congregation from Marathi, Bengali. So we also had, like, from a student days, the same experience. Yeah. In fact, we have a lot of devotees from Bengal over here. They do very nice kirtan. They are very soft people, and those great brahmachari, they extensively talk on this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, which is itself shows their personality and taste.
Yeah. Thank you. Hari Hari. So somebody can read the 3 translations, 30, 31, 32.
Hare Krishna. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe. So how is it that you want to have sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who, by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested this cosmos. May he also protect religion for all goodness.
Yeah. So this is a very exemplary way of correcting a person if you see. So what he had done actually is, all these personalities, they gave the good advice to Brahma. They told the consequences if Brahma doesn't follow the advice properly. And then they were taking shelter of Krishna also. Then, my dear Lord, we have done our duty. Now it is upon you. You are the actual protector of religion. So if you want, you can repair the situation. And if you want to destroy the situation. So we have done our part and we are not going to do anything beyond. So that's the best way of correcting especially somebody who is very exalted personality. Do it, leave on Krishna, be detached. That's all. So that is what all these people did. Hare Krishna. Yes. Please read 33 also.
The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he had accepted. Later that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness.
And Prabhupada says this giving up the body is giving up the mentality. And it's like other explanation of that is that till now he had like a brahmachari body. And now then later on he accepted a body in which he can become a grahastha. So that he can get married and that is how he can safeguard himself. Yeah. Yes, Kamal Prabhu, you had a question?
Hare Krishna. Hare
Oh, Mataji,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Kamala Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Sorry. Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just wanted to know, there's a doubt for me. Here, like Lord Brahma, it was said that he was attracted to his own daughter. Is it Saraswati Mata?
Yeah, Prabhupada writes Vak as Saraswati. So
But,
that is how Prabhupada translates.
Okay. But then, okay, as a child, I remember like born in a Hindu family, Sanatan Dharma. So we learned that Mother Saraswati was Lord Brahma's wife. But now in Chaitanya Charitamrita and all, it is said like Saraswati Mata is Vishnu's wife. Or how is that like? I always used to be wondering and confused. So I thought since this thing came up, I thought, let me clarify. Who is Saraswati Mata exactly? See, the goddess of learning we know. Other than that, so confusing, like Brahma's wife or Vishnu's wife, what is that?
Okay.
Like,
so actually all these So actually all these personalities, all the Shaktis, which are the Shaktis of the Lord, they are wives of Krishna only. So because they are wife of Krishna means they are energies of Krishna. Now, in this world, it might happen that a Jiva gets a potency to become the representative of that Shakti. And then such a Jiva can be a demigod or a demigoddess. Also, sometimes these personalities may come, they may accept some metal bodies, and then they may accept some other husband also. Like for example, Ganga. Ganga is actually one of the gopis in Golok Vrindavan. So Ganga and Yamuna, they have their own view in which they are gopis. But same Ganga, she comes as demigoddess in this world. And then later on, she was married to Santanu also.
Yeah.
So originally, everybody is like Patanbas of Krishna only. Na? Everybody is a Shakti of Krishna. So in that sense, all these are Shaktis of Krishna. We are also Shaktis of Krishna. They are more of a left-hand side energies.
Yeah, exalted. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much. Sorry.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Vishnu Kanta Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhuji, is it same like material energy is Durga Devi and like Lord impregnated material energy, and we say like Durga Devi is wife of Shiva, Parvati.
Yeah, see, that is very clear because although the Durga is the wife of Lord Vishnu, but Vishnu only touches Durga and turns into Shiva. As soon as he touches Durga, he turns into Shiva. So the glance of Mahavishnu is a person called Lord Shiva or Mahakal who touches the Prakriti. And that is how they become husband and wife. But it is non-different. Glance of Mahavishnu is not different from Mahavishnu in that sense. But he doesn't exhibit his 5 qualities when he touches the material energy. So in that sense, there's there. But here things are like much more special in the sense that these are all energies of personalities of the Krishna. But then they may appear as some demigods and demigoddesses in this world. Like even Subal Sakha. Subal or Siddhama? I just got confused. I think Subal or Siddhama. So he expands as Garuna. So he expands as Garuna in the Vaikuntha, and then he expands as Garuna in the heavenly planets also. Like one of the Bhusvargas, in that place Garuna is there. So the same personality is expanded in different places for some specific purposes. Okay. Hari. So then 34 to 49, we will read about Brahma's further creation. So Brahmaji has 4 mouths. Because he wanted to look in 4 directions, he got 4 mouths. We can look in only one direction, not of 4. So from his eastern mouths came Rig Veda, and Rig Veda also has chanting of mantras, which are recited by Hota priest. So there are 4 type priests: Hota, Advaryu, Udgata, Brahma. 4 type priest. And each one of them are expert in one Vedas. So from eastern mouth came Rig Veda and Hota priest, activities of Hota priest. Southern mouth came Yajurveda and activities of Advaryu priest. From western mouth came Samved and activities of Udgata priest. And from northern mouth came Atharveda and activities of Brahma. So Rig Veda is more of chanting of mantras, Yajurveda is more of sacrificial performances, Samveda has more of singing of the verses, Stuti Stumam, and Atharveda is Prashchittam. After the whole yajna is performed, there is a Prashchitta, there are remedial measures that is given in the Atharveda. So that all came from Lord Brahma. Again, from his eastern mouth came Ayurveda, from southern mouth Dhanurveda, from western mouth Gandharva Veda. So, musical art. Who was speaking? I think that's Hanun Presak Maharaj. He was saying, our philosophy is more based on Gandharva Veda because we do Harinam Sankirtan. So we follow Gandharva Veda. Then architectural science is called Sthapatya Veda, which came from the northern mouth. And actually, even this Sthapatya Veda is a great way of preaching to new people. Because if you go to ancient sculptures within India, very clearly, no modern equipment can make them. Not possible. So these are very great proofs of our Vedic sciences. How these Vedic sciences were beyond modern science. Like I saw one sculpture which was a lion, and lion had mouth like this with teeth. And between this mouth, there was a ball which was round in shape, which is made of stone, and it is made from a different stone, and this whole lion is carved from the single stone. And this ball, you can't take it out, you can't put it inside. No possibility is there. But it is made from the single stone. So no modern equipment can do that. So then how it was made, how it was put, so these are all a part of Sthapatya Veda. So even today we have such sculptures which defy the modern science. Even if you go to the Govindadev temple today, we have a lotus if you go in the Govindadev temple of Vrindavan. So how this whole structure was put up, lifted up and put there, it's practically unimaginable. Even with the modern equipment, it's very difficult to put. What to say of the ancient ones. So these all Vidyas are, they are a great source of faith for especially new people. And then from all the mouths of Brahma came Puranas and Itihasas. Again, from his eastern mouths came Sodas Upchar. It looks like that. Sodasi and Utta recitation. Okay, these are recitation for sacrifice. From southern mouth came Purisi, preparation of fire. Like inauspicious fires have to be taken out. Only auspicious fires can be used for yajnas. So from southern mouth they came out. Agnishtoma sacrifice came out. From western mouth, Aptorayama and Ati Ratra sacrifices. From northern mouth came Vajpayee sacrifice, Gosava sacrifices. Again from four mouths came 4 legs of dharma, Vidya, Danam, Tapaha, Socha. Vidya, Danam, Tapasatyam, sorry. Vidya, Danam, Tapasatyam. So they all came out, knowledge, charity, austerity. From his body came 4 ashramas, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanprastha, Sannyas. Then from 4 monks again came 4 types of Brahmacharya, Savitra, Prajapatya, Brahmana and Brahats. So those who celebrate for 3 days are called Savitra, for 1 year are called Prajapatya, for till they learn the Vedas, till that they are in the Gurukul, if they are following Brahmacharya, they are called Brahmana. And then there are Brahatvratas who remain celibate till death. They are called Brahatvratas. Yes, Kamala Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhu, I don't know how to. I just was trying to lower the hand thing, and I'm very bad in electronics. Sorry.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Then for 4 mouths again came 4 types of grastas, Varta, Sanchay, Salena, and Silonchana. So Varta means they do the occupations which are not forbidden like agriculture. Sanchay means they perform sacrifices. Salina, they take alms but without begging. It's like somebody gives by himself, then they take, they don't beg. And Silonchan means those who take from grains in the field. They are considered the highest. So those people who just survive on grains fall in the field, they dust it, take it, then Brahmani or the wife cleans it, and they survive on that. And why it is considered highest? Because in that case, person saves a lot of time for spiritual practices. One is not dependent on anyone. At the same time, one cannot do sense gratification because one cannot become very rich just by picking the grains fallen from the fields. So such a people, they are just focused and absorbed in the spiritual life. So there are 4 types of occupations for grastas. Then 4 types of Vanprasthas, Vaikhanasa, Valkilya, Audumbara, Fenapa. Those who live on wild grains which grow here and there are called Vaikhanasa. Those who accumulate grains or accept new grains are called Valkilya. Audumbara is by walking in directions. He gets up in the morning, he goes in one direction. Whatever he gets from that, he accepts that. And those who stay on only grains or fruits which are fallen on the ground, they are called Fenapa. 4 types of sannyasi are the Kutichaka, Bahuvada, Hansa, and Niskriya. So Kutichaka means they make their hermitage just outside the village. And their children come and give the prasad. That's called Kutichaka. Bahuvada means they reject the action and focus on the Gyan. And they beg from different houses. Hamsa are the one fixed in knowledge, sometimes called Paramhamsa also. And Niskriya means who have attained the realization. Again, from 4 mouths of Brahma came logic, Vedic goals of Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha, law and order, Danda, and Niti, moral codes. And further from 4 mouths came Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, and their combination. And from heart came Pranam, Omkar. From bodily hairs came Ushnik, the art of literary expression. Skin came Gayatri. Flesh and muscles came Trishtuk, which is Chanda. Then Anushtuk Chanda came from veins. Jagati, which has 48 syllables, that chanda came from bones. They are Vedic meters basically. Panki is from bone marrow. It's the art of writing verses. And prana is called brahati, which is made of 36 syllables. That's another type of writing. So actually writing Vedic literature is not such an easy thing. It has lot of science. Even the way the Varnamala in Devanagari or Sanskrit is there, it is very scientific. Most of the people, they don't know even how to write it. So just recently, very recently, I was like, few weeks back, I went to Hyderabad to give Bhakti Vaibhav. So then there's a devotee called Madhav Gopinath through there. So he inspired me. He told, now you should learn how to recite the Sanskrit slokas properly. So then I was just reading through some classes. So most of the people, they don't know even how to read and write properly. So they read it wrongly. Like Ganga. Ganga is not Ang. That's not Ganga. So Ga, Ang, Ada and Ga. Anyway, we'll not go in that detail. So that's how Ganga is written. Some of the people don't know how to write also. So these are whole science. Kavarg, Kaka, Ga. So that is spoken from the throat. So anyway, we'll not go in. So then Danta are there, the last ones. So that is how differently they are divided. So there's a whole, and then all these chandas come. Anushtup Chanda, Jagati Chanda, Pangi Chanda. So that is how they appear from different parts of Brahma. Now this is the one, Sparsa. So there are 5 types of consonants we were just talking about. Those spoken from the throat, from the vocal cord, from closing of the lips, host. Then Danta by closing of the teeth. So that is how these 5 types of consonants are there. They're called Sparsa because one touches a particular part from throat to teeth and lips. Then there are Swar, which came from body, which are totally independent, called Swar. Then there is Vyanjana, also called Usmanam. Then Antastha, Saptaswaras. Anyway, and Swaras are the one which are basics for musical notes. So they all came from Brahma. So we not go in all these details. It's like it will become Sanskrit class. Please read 34, 35, 36 now.
Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds as in the past millennium, the 4 Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his 4 mouths. The 4 kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest: the performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also, the 4 principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the 4 social orders all became manifest.
Yeah.
Vidura said, "O great sage, yes, Prabhuji. O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth."
Yeah. So Brahma created all these different varieties, and all these varieties we see, yet the generation has not come. So before the generation came, the whole plan of how to take care of the generation was there. So that is how, if we align with these plans of Brahma and the whole parampara, then certainly this world is dukhale, but it can be minimized. That is how it can be minimized. So Brahma had already created all these things as a, you can say, plan before creation took place. So even for devotees also, now generally devotees, before executing everything, they have a plan how to be Krishna conscious while executing this particular activity. If we are going to cook, we should see that, okay, how I can have a consciousness to cook for Krishna. Somebody enters in a brahmachari life, then he plans, what will I do there? Similarly, if somebody enters in a grahastha life, so then one should have planned for that also. So generally we recommend, like, no, somebody enters in grahastha life, then have an altar in the house before you enter in the house. Your lord of the house should come before you enter in the house. So that is how one should plan nicely the way Brahma is planning before the whole creation takes place. So that's the plan actually. Yeah. So please read 37, 38, 39.
He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after
I think
another.
you are supposed to read Mati, even a previous one, this Maitreya said.
Oh, okay. 37. Yes, sorry. Maitreya said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Athar became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, the subject matters of the recitation, and transcendental activities were all established one after another. He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. Then he created the fifth Veda, the Puranas and the histories from all his mouths, since he could see all the past, present, and future.
So we already went through all these details. Yes, Diksha Mata, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, like, when we read in the episode of the Canto 1, Vyasdev is also writing all the Vedas. And but that time, is it a different kalpa, or like how is it to be seen that once Brahma has already told, Vyasdev is again writing?
See, Vyasdev is known for compiling them. So he's the one who compiled and he further subdivided things in very proper way. So that subdivision into chapters, verses, like for example, now when Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he would have never said, Arjuna, chapter number 1, verse number 1, or chapter number 2 and verse number 2. So he never spoke like that. He just spoke the Gita, but then you have to divide it according to the theme, verse by verse, and the chapter wise. So this is all done by Brahma. So it's a compilation work. Okay. I hope it answers the question. Yeah. Yes. Somebody can read 40, 41 and 41 purport.
All the different varieties of fire sacrifices, Shodashi, Ukta, Puririshi, Agni Stoma, Aptoryama, Atiratra, Vajapaya, and Goshava became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma. Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of caste according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order. The nucleus of the four social orders, brahmacharya or student life, grihastha or householder family life, vanprastha or retired life for practicing penance, and sannyas or renounced life for preaching the truth, is the four legs of religion. The vocational divisions are the brahmanas or the intelligent class, the kshatriyas or administrative class, the vaishyas or mercantile productive class, and the shudras or general laborer class, who have no specific qualifications. All were systematically planned and created by Brahma for the regular promotion of self-realization. Student life is meant for acquiring the best education. Household family life is meant for gratifying the senses, provided it is performed with a charitable disposition of mind, Retirement from household life is meant for penance, for advancement in spiritual life, and renounced life is meant for preaching the absolute truth to the people in general. The combined actions of all members in society make the whole situation favorable for the upliftment of the mission of human life. The beginning of this social institution is based on education, meant for purifying the animal propensities of the human being. The highest purificatory process is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purest of the pure.
Yeah. So these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas are there. So generally people more of focus on varnas, the mode of earning. But for spiritual upliftment, we have these ashramas. So in brahmachari life, one learns how to become Krishna conscious. That education is there. In grastha life, one learns how to gratify the senses with prasad, the mercy of the Lord. And that is how that also elevates one in Krishna consciousness. As vanaprastha, then one learns how to control the senses and do penances. And in this way also dedicate one life for the service of the Lord. And in renounced life, one just preaches. So it's like one's existence is meant for the purpose of spiritual upliftment. So everything is ultimately meant for spiritual upliftment only, all the 4 ashramas. So that is how he created it. Okay, Vishnu Kanta Mataji.
Is Vyasadeva divided this Bhagavad Gita in 18 chapters and he wrote Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, he's the one who has written this, all the division and everything is done by Vyasadeva. And that is why we find we don't have much differences in the chapter and the number of verses. Very few differences here and there are there. But generally they are not there because they were originally done by Vyasadeva only.
I want to ask one more question.
Mhm.
Our family, we have, from my childhood, I heard that Brahmaji had 5 heads, and Lord Shiva cut his one head due to some controversy or something. That is why Daksh Prajapati, he did not like Shiva, Lord Shiva. Is it like that some kalpa?
So, see, like within Bhagavatam and this, our literature, it is not there. It may be there in the other Puranas. But again, we have to understand, different Puranas are for different kalpas and they may be for different Brahmas also. So that may not be true with current Brahma, it may be from some other Brahma also, quite possible. So if it is from Puranas, it must be true, but it may not be for the current Brahma.
If when Shiva takes the position of the Lord Brahma, then also he originates from the that lotus of Garbhodakshina Vishnu.
Yeah, even Lord Vishnu, if he takes the position of Brahma, he is going to do the same thing. And essentially the same thing. Because that is the way things are generated. Like now, does he have the same form? I may be doubtful. Because according to, that is what I heard from different devotees connected to Madhva Sampradaya, I'm not very sure. They say Hanumanji is going to be the next Brahma. So now whether Hanumanji will come as Hanumanji or he'll come with a person with the 4 heads, like Brahma. So we are not very sure about it. So, but one thing is, the way things happen that no lotus sprouts and Brahma comes, that is general way things have to be there, because within that lotus only there is a creation. So unless and the lotus comes out, how there will be creation? Okay. Yes, Premanand Gopinath.
Prabhuji, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Chaturvarnam Maya Sustam. He created this Chaturvarnam, Varnashrama system. And here we are hearing that Brahmaji has created this Varnashrama system. The answer is okay, that is the blueprint and this is practical.
Yeah. And also we can say it's like the rule made by central government home ministry is executed by the state government home ministry. It is like that. Chetan Haripru.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have two questions here. Earlier we were saying that some all the description they're showing the which mouth, southern, eastern, northern, western. Is it very important? What is the significance of that, or is it just for the how is that? That's one question, Prabhu.
So actually, so maybe we can go one by one.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether there is some significance. So maybe I can go through the verses and purports by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to see if it's spoken something. But as far as I don't understand, but one thing is that there is also a history. So what is exactly reason behind that, we are not sure. But certainly we understand there is a history. So that is what we can understand. So I'll just see if there are any Chakravarti path purports. Okay, so here also I'm not seeing Proji. So it doesn't seem, it's like there's some serious reason for that. At least not from a point of view of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. If it is something is there in the Sridhar Swami, then we're not sure. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has not written anything about it.
Okay, it's okay. So the second question is, just now we are talking about the duty of the different ashram, or the what is ashram, like the brahmacharya is student life, the Varnapasta is penance. Okay, the question is on the grasa ashram. We know that is for sense gratification, but I have read also it's also meant their duty is to give charity, to do charity. Here you say charitable disposition of mind. Okay, is this is what they meant? The mind should be in that concept, or is it they have to? How much? What is the involvement in giving charity and doing charity?
So generally, grasta, whether it's a brahmachari life or a grasta life, all these lives are ultimately meant for spiritual upliftment. So in brahmachari life, one learns, and in grasta life, one applies. So it's not that grasta life is meant for sense gratification like a graha maybe. Whatever one has learned in brahmachari life is supposed to be applied in grasta life. So that's why nobody can be grasta unless until he's a brahmachari. It is like saying nobody can be a chemical engineer unless until he learns chemical engineering. So the ideal way in which Vedic life was that people would learn everything in the brahmachari ashram and then they would become grahasthas. That is like an application. And one of the duties, it's not the only duty. Sometimes our duty want fund collection. So that's why they say no, grahasthas should give charity. But charity is only one of the duties of grahasthas.
Yes.
Because grahasthas are actually supposed to maintain the other three orders who don't earn. So currently I'm in home, and I know all the local people here. They are not ISKCON devotees, but each one of them, they have a culture of giving something like 8 to 10% of their income in charity, just because they are grahasthas. And that is the reason the place where I am in, people are very simple but very wealthy. They are extremely wealthy people. And they know unless until we give charity, we can't maintain our opulence. So it's like a duty of the grahastha to do that, because unless until you do the duty of grahastha, then how you're a grahastha? Grahastha is not just like a person wearing saffron clothes doesn't become a brahmachari. Similarly, just by getting married, one doesn't become a grahastha. Grasta becomes a Grasta by doing the duties of a Grasta. And one of the duties is charity.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. So now we'll go to the. So we have done that. Now 42. Somebody can just use a translation the purport. Yes, Devdata Janajaka.
Guruji's mic is
Yes, Mata, you can read.
Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected queens. Prabhuji, this is which shloka number?
This is sloka number 42.
During student life of the brahmacharis were given full instructions about the importance of human form of life. Thus, the basic education was designed to encourage the student in becoming free from family encumbrances. Only students unable to accept such a vow in life were allowed to go home and marry a suitable wife. Otherwise, the student would remain a permanent brahmachari, observing complete abstinence from sex life for his whole life. It all depended on the quality of students' training. We had the opportunity to meet an avowed brahmachari in the personality of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupa Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj. Such a great soul is called Naishchik Brahmachari.
Yeah. So as we had discussed, there is a brahmachari who stays brahmachari for 3 days and takes education. Then there is another one who for 1 year. Then there is Uppurvana brahmachari who remains till he stays in the Guru's ashram. And then there is Naishchik brahmachari who stays lifelong as celibate. Yes, please read 23rd, 43rd and there also translation purpose.
The 4 divisions of retired life are Vekhanasas, Valakilyas, Odambaras, and Penappas. The 4 divisions of the renounced order of life are the Kutichakas, Bahovadas, Hamsas, and Nishkriyas. All these are manifested from Brahma. The Varnashram Dharma, or the institution of 4 divisions and orders of social and spiritual life, is not a new invention of the modern age as proposed by the less intelligent. It is an institution established by Brahma from the beginning of the creation. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13. Chatur Varnayam Maya Srishta.
Yeah. So that is how Lord gives knowledge and that gets manifest through Brahma. Now, please read 44, 45, 46.
The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymns Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranav Omkar was manifested from his heart. Thereafter, the art of literary expression, Ushnik, was generated from the hairs on the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn, Gayatri, was generated from the skin, Trishtuk from the flesh, Anushtuk from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities. The art of writing verse, Pankti, became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of Brihati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities.
Yeah. Chetan Haripuru, can you mute yourself? Actually, yes, thank you. Okay, yes, Diksha, you have a question?
Prabhuji, yes, here Lord of the living entities is Brahma.
Because he's the one, you can say, from whom the bodies come, in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah, please read 40 and 49.
Brahma's soul was manifested as alphabets, his body as vowels, his senses as sibilant alphabets, his strength as the intermediate alphabets, and essential activities as the 7 notes of music. Brahma is the personal representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation.
Yeah. So after creating all these things, now because already some walk episode happened, so then he got a body of a grasta, so that he can further engage in further creation, and he will be protected because he has entered in the family life. Okay, so now after, despite creation, we'll find he was not happy. He was not happy with his service. So then there is creation of Sambhu Manu and Satrupa, which are explained now. Yeah. Please read 50, 51, 52. Someone, yeah.
O son of the Kurus, when Brahma saw that, in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, 2 other forms were generated from his body. They are still celebrated as body of Brahma.
Yeah. So Brahma, it's like he was seeing that he's trying so hard. He made Prajapatis, appointed them, but they were in so much goodness that no further population was getting created. And there are so many living entities who are waiting for getting material bodies. So he was thinking, oh, I'm not doing a proper service. So he was very worried. And when he was contemplating on supernatural power of Supreme Lord, by the mercy of Lord, then 2 forms came in front of him. So that is how, when all the material things fail, despite our endeavor, the only thing which we can do is take the shelter of Krishna. And if Krishna desires, now suddenly it is service of Krishna only. And he trying with the best of his ability and endeavor to do this service properly, despite that he's failing. So then finally he thought, let me just take shelter of Krishna. And then suddenly these 2 bodies came who are going to help him in his further service. Yeah. Please read 53, 54, and 55. Yes. Anybody can read? Maybe.
Two separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship. Out of them, the one who had the male form became known as the Manu, named Swambhuva, and the woman became known as Satarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. Thereafter, by sex intelligence, they gradually increased generations of population one after another.
Yeah. So that is how these 2 separate bodies came from Brahma. And they became Swambhu, Manu, and Satarupa. And from them came Manav. Manav comes from the word Manu. And they were increasing the further population. Yes, Rati Pita Radhika Mata.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in text 44, it is mentioned about Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha. What exactly comes in Bhu and in Bhuva and in Swaha? What all planetary? Yes,
See, Bhumandal generally means the Bhumandal, which is Bhusvargas and the Earth planet. So they all come in Bhu. They are explained in 5th canto more elaborately. Bhuva is the part between Swargaloka and Bhumandal. So that includes Bhuvarlok also, where Yakshas and Rakshasas stay.
Antariksh, is that the place?
Antariksh is between Bhulok and Bhuvarlok.
Okay.
So this will include Bhuvarlok also, and this will include the Antariksh also. And this is the place where Bhutas, Pretas, Pisatas, all they stay. So it includes all these three. So it includes Bhulok till Swargalok, all the places in between. These three things.
And third, Prabhuji, Swa is Swargaloka.
Swa is Swargaloka.
But it does not include other planets, Maharlok, Janlok, Tapalok.
Generally, what happened is, initially Brahmaji has created three places. Bhu, Bhuva, Swa. And then he created the planets above them, above Swargaloka. And he created the planets below Bhuloka, below Bhumandal, where lower planetary systems are.
So in these three, we do not include the lower planetary systems or the higher ones.
See, generally what happens is, initially because Brahmaji created 3, and then slowly he created 14. Like I was telling, after Swargaloka, he created above and below Bhuloka. So because these three of them are the initial creations, so they are many times mentioned in many places, but generally they signify all 14.
Okay, so when we say Trayaloka, we mean Bhu, Bhuvar, Swaha, and Bhu will include all the lower also, and Swaha will include generally the top ones also.
Top ones also. That is in general, you can say notion. In general notion.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes, Diksha Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in one of the shlokas, it was mentioned that then Brahma took another form in which he can create progeny. So before that, when he gave up his life earlier, the mentality when he gave up, so that time it was not giving up that body. Didn't he take another body and then he came and then after all these creation, then it was the third body? How to understand?
See, what we understand is initially that he had some mentality which is indulged because of too much indulgence with mode of passion. Because of that, he ran behind the Vak. So he gave up that mentality. And then here again he gives up this body in which he was supposed to be celibate, and he accepts the body of a Grahastha. So in between, he did a lot of creation between both of them.
So Prabhuji, at that time he just gave up his mentality. That is the thing.
Yeah, actually what happens is, for us there is we are not able to understand because our bodies are more gross and subtle. So we have subtle body and gross elements are a lot in us. But it is said that Brahmaji's body is more made up of intelligence. So for him, giving up the gross body is not like the way we give up. You can say probably he doesn't have a gross body only. He has a subtle body only. So for him, giving up mentality is like giving up body itself. Because his body is made up of intelligence. So that is why when he gives up this mentality, it's like changing another body. And he's like, no, again, now getting a mentality of a Grahastha, that's like accepting another body. Because he doesn't have a gross body like all of us.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, one place you mentioned that when Brahma saw that all other living entities are waiting, so he was praying to the Lord, and then both Satrupa and... So Prabhuji, how to understand this word waiting? The living entities are waiting?
No, they are waiting. They are waiting. Even they were waiting in the body of Mahavishnu. Then they were waiting for further creation for 1000 years when there was darkness. That's called Hiranyagarbha. They were like Hiranyagarbha. All the living entities combined. Then again they were waiting for further creation to take place. Only when Brahma is going to give the gross bodies to them, they will get another bodies. So they are waiting since the time of devastation. Okay. So they are really waiting. It's not like, oh, how they are waiting. No, they are waiting. They need a body to further do their activities. Yeah. So now last two verses. Somebody has read 56 and 57.
O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Satrupa. Would you 55 also?
No, 55 is already done, I think so. Yes.
O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Satrupa 5 children, 2 sons, Priyavrat and Utanpad, and 3 daughters, Akuti, Devhuti, and Prasuti. Text 57. The father Manu handed over his first daughter Akuti to the sage Ruchi, the middle daughter Devhuti to the sage Kardam, and the youngest Prasuti to Daksha. From them all the world filled with population.
Yeah. And all these personalities, like if we see, each one of them have a great lineage. Priyavrata himself was such a great devotee that when sun was not giving light in one part of the universe, of the Bhumandal, he was riding on the chariot and removing the darkness. Uttanpada had this great son, Dhruva Maharaj, who got the son of the Lord. Akuti was married to Ruchi, and their son was Yagya, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Devhuti's son is Kapil Dev. Devhuti and Kardamuni is their son. And they are his Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And then Prasuti was married to Daksha, and their son-in-law is Lord Shiva. So, a lineage of great devotees and Supreme Lord. Okay. Damodar Bhakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question in this, that as the Brahma is creating and doing, giving birth to Manu and Satrupa, so sometimes we call ourselves as fallen souls. We used to call ourselves fallen souls, and sometimes we ask this kind of question, why we are here on this planet. So every time we get the answer that sometimes we were envious, and we fall on this earth. So all these souls are coming, and you're saying these were the devotees. So they were coming to serve the Lord and to do the creation, or were awaiting because they were envious and they do not want to serve there. That's why they are coming to this creation.
Okay. I think I answered before, but I'll answer again. See, all these people, some of them are great souls. Like Manu. So just a minute, now I'll come back. 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, so what we were saying about
why we consider ourselves as fallen soul, and sometimes we were envious.
So actually speaking, initially, so some of them are great souls, but for most of the people, it's like we had a desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. And that is not considered like that's a property of every soul. To love or not love is the only characteristic of love. If I'm forced to love someone, that is not called love. That's considered a force. Only if I can choose to not love someone and still love someone, that is called love. I hope you understand, na? It's like, no, if I put a gun in somebody's head and say, you love me, he has to say yes. He has no option. But if I allow that person to love me or not love me, and still he loves me, then I can say this person loves me. So similarly, every soul has a opportunity to love Krishna and serve Krishna and or not love Krishna. So for those few souls who choose not to love Krishna, they are given opportunity to not love Krishna and still do his activities in the material world. But when we come to this world, then Maya gives us 8.4 million types of dresses. There are only types. In each type, there are many dresses, which can suit us in how to live and enjoy this world without Krishna. So I was already giving an example. I gave the example of this. We may think, okay, let me not stay with my family today. Let me go to the shopping mall. But after I go in shopping mall, then I find so many varieties of dresses are there that I start generating new and new desires to take this dress and that dress and that dress and that dress and that dress to such a way that I'm entrapped for practically a whole time. That's exactly what happens when we come to this world. We come to this world and then Maya gives us so many opportunities and varieties to enjoy that we are practically lost. But what was that original one? Original one is, okay, let me enjoy separate from Krishna. That's all. Okay.
So these two sons and daughters, and they were coming to serve the Lord, Brahma.
See, that's why I'm saying not all of them are like, certainly we can say that now Daksha is not glorified as pure devotee. But Mother Devahuti is glorified for having Kardan Muni as a son. Or Akuti is the mother of the Lord. So some of them are pure devotees, some of them are mixed devotees, and some of them may be non-devotees also. So not everybody is like pure devotee here. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Premanand Gopinath.
Prabhuji, in this chapter 3.12.2, Brahma, in the translation, Brahma first created the nascent, and he has created 5 nascent things. That is Tamaha, yesterday, Mohotama,
Sasar Jagran Tamasramatam Sadhikrit, Mahamoham Cha Moham Cha, Tamasagyan Vrittya. These all 5, yes.
5 things he has created. Then seeing such misleading creation, then again he did meditation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Lord Shiva came. Then again in the text number 26, he's creating lust and desire become manifested from his heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows. Again the negative things. After so much of meditation on Krishna, he's creating one after the another, but still something negative.
See, this negative is required for living entities to further continue the creation. Like, anyway, I don't know whether I should speak here, but maybe I can give the answer because already all of you are mature devotees. So because when congregation is there, I don't give this example. But I can give here because all the devotees are pretty elderly. So what happened is when I was in IIT in those days, so one of my friends, he was a Bengali and he just became devotees. Generally in Kharagpur, to Bengalis to become devotee is very difficult because they are locally and they just go home. So he became a devotee and where he was very excited that all the people, whole world should become devotee. Like new people have that enthusiasm. So he was roaming around in the whole hostel. And in one hostel, in one of the rooms, he saw the gates are open and people were watching something nonsense. So then he was saying to them, why are you watching this nonsense? So then these people were saying, what is this nonsense? It is not nonsense. You are saying it is nonsense. So then he's saying, no, it is nonsense. Then he said, if it is nonsense, what is wrong in that? So then he said that if you watch it, your lust will increase. So they said, lust is good. Unless until you have lust, how will you enjoy sense gratification? Or unless until you have greed, how will you earn money? So greed is good. And he was there really shaken up. He thought for the first time. So yeah, certainly if lust is not there, how will we enjoy this world? So then what we understand is people want lust. Conditioned living entities want greed so that one can enjoy this world. Only when one comes to Krishna consciousness, one understands that lust and greed is not good, it is enemy for us. Then we say there no kandu and dukha dukkha. It's like a scratching the itch. So unless until we come to Krishna consciousness, most of the people want anarthas. So unless until these anarthas are there, how will living entities enjoy this world? So people don't want to get rid of anarthas. They want anarthas. Rather, so many people work so hard to increase the anarthas. There are so many industries going on in the whole world just so that people who want to increase their anarthas can go to them. So what is this whole pornography industry? This whole industry is about that only. People want to increase their lust. Then there is an industry where people are taught envy and greed. So I didn't watch, but some of very elderly people say that there was some Hollywood movie where one particular line became very popular. It is about one person who was very poor and he became a trillionaire. The story about him. And the line was, greed is good. Greed is good. So unless until you have greed, how will you work very hard to earn money? How will the economy improve? So only after coming to devotees, we understand it as anarthas. But for general conditioned souls who want to live in this world, they want anarthas. They want anarthas. So if they want anarthas, Brahmaji has to create anarthas. Living entities want 5 types of agarvrittis to enjoy this world. Brahmaji creates that. Similarly, living entities want these anarthas. Brahmaji has to create it. That is thankless task. Okay, Prabhuji.
So seeing such, Brahmaji is saying, text number 3, translation, seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in the activity. And
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like now we don't want to do crowd control. We don't want to collect coupons from devotees. We have to do. That is a part of service given to us. Similarly, Brahmaji doesn't want to do that. But because Lord Vishnu wants to do that, wants him to do that, he has to do that. He's not happy what he has to do, what to do.
Okay, I have another question for you. There are 3 types of destruction. The other day you were saying annihilation, 4 types of annihilation. Canto 12 also says. You also say.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And in 3.10.14, it is saying there are 3 kinds of annihilation due to eternal time, the material elements, and the quality of one's work. Kala Dravya Guna.
You can tell me this with 3.?
3.10.14.
So just a minute, I'll open my database. 3.10.14. So I remember the verse, but I want to just go in the technical detail. So there are 9 kinds of creation besides one. The 3 kinds of annihilations due to eternal time, the material elements, and quality of one's work. Kala, Kala, Dravya, Guna. These are the words used here. Okay. And so how what Prabhupada writes in the purport is, our preliminary information is that the 3 kinds of annihilations due to cellule time of the annihilation of the universe, due to a fire which emanates from the mouth of Ananta, and due to qualitative actions and reactions. So the first one is the one which at the end of Brahma's life, This is the first one. Second one is at the end of Brahma's day. Good, eh? And the third one is which is like considered continuous. Continuous means every time we are leaving the bodies. But the fourth one, which is extra, which is mentioned in the 12th canto also, is the one when we leave this world and go back to Godhead. So three of them are commonly mentioned here and there, and the fourth one is one more extra mentioned there. Okay, Premanand Gopinath?
Yes, Prabhuji. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Rati Pradamataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like here it is mentioned that Brahma created Manu and Satrupa. So can we understand them to be equivalents of Adam and Eve in Christianity, or Adam and Hawa in Islam, like that they mentioned? They are the first human beings. Can we compare this, or we shouldn't?
Okay. So actually speaking, I didn't read those Puranas, but what I heard from devotees about Adam and Havavati, there is another passage is mentioned in another Purana. They're different from Shraddha and Manu. So they're pretty different from that. And because really speaking, these other Abrahamic religions, they have come from Vedic culture only. They have Vedic origin. So many of these informations, which are like either clearly given or deteriorated in due course of time. So that's why you'll find some of the commonalities between these religions and the Sanatana Dharma, and some of them are like the deteriorated ones. And many of them are like their own additions, which they have added in their own religion. So there is a mention about Havavati and Adam. And also there is like, we have Noah's Ark.
Yes, Prabhuji. No, they call No as their prophet.
So that
yes.
is
Exactly
so that
same.
is exactly
Exactly
like
the same. Yes.
Sradha Dev Manu, the recent
Yes.
Manu. In previous
yes,
life,
yes.
it was having the same pastime. So
Yes,
they
yes.
do have a Vedic origin actually. Yes, Premanand Gopinath.
Prabhuji, text number 57 of this chapter. Chapter 12, 57, last. Akuti got married to Sage Ruchi. Ruchi came from here, and the Kadarma and the Daksha, they are already mentioned in this chapter. So Ruchi, his name is not mentioned. So he came from where? Brahma.
Okay. Really, I have to go into and see the genealogical table. So maybe because in Bhagavatam and many of our these fat Bhagavatam books, places where genealogical table is mentioned, maybe you can see from there. So in 4th canto, you can see the genealogical tables. So there you will find. So I don't exactly remember where it was given. When I saw it, I could relate at that time.
Okay.
So somebody remembers, then they can say, tell us here. But it is there in the genealogical table. It is there. Okay. Okay, so we can end here. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to serve all of you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I also learned a lot from such exalted devotees who were there. We had nice discussions. So, and please forgive me because I am junior to many of you. So many senior devotees are there, both in age as well as practicing Krishna consciousness. So please forgive me if I spoke strongly or hurt you in any way. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for teaching us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So hope we will see you again in this canto.
Hare Hare. Thank you. Dhananjay Prabhu is our senior in the college, senior in Krishna consciousness, senior in age, senior in all the ways.
But you are our guide, Prabhuji. So we expect to see you more often because you give so much clarity.
Hare Hare. I love to do it again, but let us see. Hare. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
Vancha
much.
kalpadruvasa कृपा सिंधुभ्यो पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की श्रील
Thank
प्रभुपाद
you
की
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Hare Krishna.